see what we got here. Looks like I'm going to need to get tires too. Okay. Well, not too horrible. I mean, that can be all, this is going to be replaced. New pads. I'll just get a wire brush on these real good. It's not like corroded or damaged. I'll look at it more as I get the disc off. So there we go. Step one. I took the wheels off. I've already had them off before. I'm going to have to replace the slider bolts. So I went down to the store and got those. The front has a hex that is 3/4 inch, and the rear lug nuts are 13/16. So just a little fun fact here that I found. Another one is, I thought I heard a little compressor going a little bit ago, and I'm looking at this shock. I don't know if you can see it. Let's get in here. This looks like some kind of hard plastic tubing, and I think there are airbags in here. So I think this thing is sprung on the shocks with little airbags. So I'll look more into that. I did see airbags mentioned in the repair manual, so I think this one might be equipped. So a lot of surface rust. I'm not too worried about it. This, I'm replacing the rotor completely. This stuff is just very barely superficial. So I'm hoping this all goes well. And let's see what they look like. I do know that I have to take off this kind of brake carrier and the caliper. So I'll bring it off, hang it up, and I'm going to start by trying to get these slide pin bolts out. And that's where I was stopped before. So let's see how that goes. Confirmed, this thing is definitely bagged. So that's a big airbag. So one mystery solved. I wonder why I heard some weird compression. I thought it was a solenoid out of control, but there's a compressor that is compensating for me messing with the suspension. So awesome. I hope I don't have to replace those. It's got some kind of heat activated locker on it, which is nice. So there we go. So just to give yourself room for the new pads, they're going to be much thicker than your worn pads. You need to compress the pistons here. So I have this little brake piston compressor. I just put an old pad on here and then just kind of work it in. And it pushes the piston in. Alright, so let me try to show you what's going on here. So the caliper has some tabs on it that have to slide into this groove here. So it's kind of has to stay all together. Alright, this was a pretty, I guess, relatively complicated assembly process compared to a lot of other vehicles. So this caliper has a little ear that comes up. You see it here. So it slides in this groove with the brakes in here. So you have to put the pads into this carrier and then slide the caliper onto the whole thing, and then get the your slide pins in, and then get it over the rotor. Make sure you do compress the pistons when you get the new pads on, before you put the new pads on. Get a clamp, use an old pad and push those pistons in, and that'll get you on. So here's first front. I'm going to finish the other front, and then I'll show you guys one of the rears, and we'll see how that goes. All right, so this is the last wheel. I did the front, did one of the rears, and so this is the last wheel. So this one's a little more standard, 2 bolts holding on the caliper that work on the slider bolts. Took the bolts out already. This should come out from the bottom, kind of swing up. Okay. So one of these is going to have prongs holding it into the piston. It's a hollowed piston. And then this one has this clamp here, so I have to pry that up and out. I'll leave this one on so that I can compress the piston, so I have room for the thick new rotor and the thicker pads. So hopefully this will go relatively smoothly. This fits up here okay. So this little tool comes in handy. It's just basically a tool for compressing the piston. These are pretty cheap. You could find one just about anywhere. Hardware, go to your parts store and they'll have one. Oh, it's hard to see. Basically, this is spreading apart, pushing in the piston. So far, none of the pistons have seized, so that's a good thing. The boots were in decent shape for the age. Yeah, my budget's kind of thinning out, so I have to reuse everything that I can. So I won't be building the emergency brakes inside of here. I just don't have the budget for it at the moment. But a little on the nasty side. Got some brake part cleaner. This stuff's very important. I'm going to do all the components again just before I put the wheels on. Just kind of crud off. The other one was in worse shape. Pretty bad, greasy and grimy. This one's not too bad. Right. So I'm going to start with the piston side. It just goes in like that. And this one, a little more of a challenge. Kind of do the same thing in reverse. I'm going to push these sliders up if I can. It's basically going to go in the reverse. This sleeve back here that's going to catch, you got to slide that back. There you go. And then the little fork ends will go in there. This one will slide right on, and that's that. So let me put these bolts back on, clean the rotor again and the pads with some brake cleaner, and wrap things up. Feels good.